Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting of Monday, March 20th, 2023. If I can have our city clerk please call the roll.
Mayor Flores.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Tharp.
Present.
Councilmember Noble.
Here.
Councilmember Dugo.
Here.
Councilmember Diaz.
Here.
Councilmember Bousquet is absent tonight. Mayor, we have a quorum.
All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, I have a motion made by Councilmember Dugo, second by Councilmember Noble. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries 4-0. At this point in time, are there any comments from the public for any agenda items only? If you wish to speak, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing none, tonight we don't have any special business. Moving down to the consent agenda, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, I have a motion made by Councilmember Diaz, second by Councilmember Dugo. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries 4-0. All right, moving on to our regular agenda. Today we have public hearing for ordinance 2023-04, second reading. If I can have our city clerk please read the ordinance by title.
Ordinance 2023-04, second reading, amending the future land use map of the future land use element of the city's comprehensive plan to change the future land use designation of 6 parcels of land totaling approximately 7.9636 acres located at the southeast corner of Lake Worth Road and Jog Road at 6492, 6350, and 6323 Lake Worth Road, and 4148, 4080, and 4020 South Jog Road from a Palm Beach County designation commercial high to a City of Green Acres designation of commercial as requested by the Planning, GIS, and Engineering Division, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, transmittal, inclusion in the comprehensive plan, and an effective date.
Thank you, and tonight we have zoning administrator Karen Gardner-Young presenting.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. This item is second reading. This is the Lake Worth Plaza outparcels. We've already done the main building, so these are the 6 outparcels, and then there's one across the street, which is the gas station. So as you know, we're eliminating an enclave, plus they annexed into the city. As a result, they need to have a city designation. So we're asking that they go to a commercial designation, which would be equivalent to what they are now. Staff has done the analysis. It's basically the same uses. They're not changing any. We believe that it is in compliance with the requirements for a comprehensive plan amendment. I'm ready to provide a presentation if you'd like me to do so. Otherwise, staff is recommending approval of ordinance 2023-04 through CPA 2203. We ask that all a part of our files and everything contained in the materials be included as part of the record. I'm here to answer any questions or comments you may have.
Would anybody like a presentation again?
No, thank you.
Seeing none, are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Public hearing.
Oh, public hearing. At this time, I'd like to open public hearing for ordinance 2023-04, second reading. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the ordinance, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the ordinance, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve 2023-04, second reading.
Second.
All right, I have a motion made by Councilmember Dugo, second by Deputy Mayor Tharp. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilmember Diaz, I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Yeah. All right, that motion carries 4-0. All right, moving on to public hearing for ordinance 2023-03, second reading. If I can have our city clerk please read the ordinance by title.
Ordinance 2023-03, second reading, approving a zoning change of 6 parcels of land totaling approximately 7.9636 acres located at the southeast corner of Lake Worth Road and Jog Road at 6492, 6350, and 6323 Lake Worth Road, and 4148, 4080, and 4020 Jog Road from a Palm Beach County zoning designation of general commercial to a City of Green Acres zoning designation of commercial intensive, as requested by the Planning, GIS, and Engineering Division, providing for changes to the official zoning map, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
And we have zoning administrator Karen Gardner-Young presenting.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This is the companion petition to the land use amendment. Once we bring land in under our land use, we now need to also apply a zoning designation. Again, it is the same 6 parcels that surround the Lake Worth Plaza West, as well as the one gas station across the street. They presently have a commercial general zoning district in the county. The commercial general in the county more aligns with our commercial intensive. That's why you're not seeing us go from commercial general to commercial general. I'm prepared to make a presentation as I did last time. If you don't so desire, staff is recommending approval of ordinance 2023-03 through CC 2203. We ask that all the materials be included as part of the public record, and I am here to answer any questions or comments you may have or present if you wish me to do so.
Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, I'd like to open a public hearing for ordinance 2023-03, second reading. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the ordinance, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the ordinance, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 2023-03, second reading.
All right, I have a motion made by Deputy Mayor Tharp, second by Councilmember Noble. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries 4-0. We're moving on to discussion items. Tonight, we are talking about establishment of an education advisory committee, and that is going to be led by Councilmember Diaz.
Thank you so much, Mayor. As I mentioned during our last meeting, we all know what happened to our city during the last redistricting with the schools and our high school specifically, and now being zoned into 5 high schools in our 6-mile city. I feel strongly, and I would love for my fellow council members to consider the establishment of an education advisory committee. We all know and have heard the expression, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I do feel that that is part of what has happened here with our city. And yes, we received an email. It went into a spam email. So at the bottom line is that these things happened without us having a seat at the table. My thoughts are that if we consider establishing some sort of an education advisory committee, we can have our residents, we have many residents that are very passionate about education, and we can have them help us with our tasks. We can have them help us liaise, help us stay in touch with what's happening at the district and reporting back, so that these type of decisions that are being made we're aware of them on a more timely basis. So I'm not sure where from here. I'll look over to our city manager for maybe any thoughts that you might have.
Mayor, thank you. I think that, it would be, we're looking for some guidance from the council, whether or not they'd like us to look into it. I know that I've had some conversation with our city attorney about some of the other municipalities that they represent that do have education advisory committees. Some are set up very differently than others. So I think that really it would be prudent for us to go back and take a look at what's out there and then make a recommendation and bring forward what we have found and then a recommendation on where we think best for the city to go. But we
Excellent.
would just like that direction.
Sure. I guess I want to ask Councilmember Diaz, how do you see the structure of this, and who would have a seat at the table? Just your thoughts, sort of forming this. How does this look like to you in the makeup, I guess?
Well, I would love to see participation from some of our schools. I think it's important for us to know what are things that we as a city can do. While I understand we're not the school board, there are many things that the city is responsible for surrounding these schools that do affect the schools. So I would like to see some participation in some form from either from school administrators, perhaps, maybe some former educators that we have in our city. Anyone really who would like to participate and has the understanding of how the structure works and is clearly able to come back to us and let us know what is happening.
Excellent. Are there any comments or questions from the council? Councilmember Noble. I just called on you. I called on you.
Yes, I'm reading something here related to how the schools have to establish what you're suggesting. And it's quite an involved process. They have it broken down by teachers, educators, students, and parents. And it goes into some detail of what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. I think you would have to provide a lot more information on how you would break this committee down, and what their functions would be, and who is on the committee, and how they're appointed or selected, before I would be interested in getting involved in something that every school apparently is going to have their own advisory council.
Are there any other comments or questions? Councilmember Dugan and then Councilmember Diaz.
Well, my comment, and I thoroughly agree, is while we are not the school district, we certainly are responsible for all the areas around our schools. I would be very interested in pursuing a committee if it gives us a seat and something to say. So if the city manager can, and Ms. Diaz can pursue some information, I would certainly think it'd be a good idea. Can't hurt to have a seat and a word.
I agree. Councilmember Diaz.
I wanted to thank you, actually, Mr. Noble. You are absolutely correct. The SAC committees are the ones that are formed at the school level. And actually, that might even be a good representative if administration doesn't have someone. It could be someone from that heads the SAC committee. And definitely, we need to figure out the better ways to structure it. The reason I wanted to bring this forward to begin with is to get that direction and hopefully some consensus from the council that, yes, we can have staff move forward with exploring an education advisory committee.
Deputy Mayor Tharp.
I can't agree with you, Councilmember Diaz. It's a great idea. We need, while we need more, I think we have to take that first step, and thank you for bringing this up, and I say we go for it.
Yeah, so I'll provide my input. I think this is something that we have desperately needed for a very long time. If you recall back to when COVID occurred, we learned very quickly that there were a lot of kids in our own backyard that didn't have access to internet. Immediately, so school started, they all went online, and we learned that there were a lot of kids in our own backyard that didn't have access to internet. So that's just another very small highlight of how the city can get involved, what our role is in a committee like this. I like having participation from all of our schools. I think that if our kids go to those schools, then maybe they should be invited as well, because I think the new high school will have our kids, but they're not in the city, but they should still should have a seat at the table. I've also heard from parents that they're early on. I learned that Green Acres Elementary didn't have sidewalks. It was something that it was a concern of the school. So there are small little things like that perhaps the school district or the SAC, they don't have control over those, but we do, and it should be a collaboration. It should be a place that we share ideas, concerns, obviously information, and we can work together for the betterment of our students and our families. So. As the makeup, as you mentioned, and as you mentioned, Dr. Noble, Councilmember Noble, the SAC committees would be great. Perhaps we can get a representative from each SAC to sit on our board, as well as from the schools. And then would the idea be that each council member appoints someone, or I guess there's still some navigating and structure for us to do, and I think there's consensus from this body right now. I think I can see 4 individuals in agreement.
Here.
We don't have what?
You don't have my consensus,
Yeah, so we have 4-1 consensus on.
including yourself.
Yeah, that happens when there's not a fifth
You don't vote, though.
council member. It does happen when there's not a fifth. But it's okay. Whether it's 3-1 or 4-1, we have consensus. So I think we should look at some best practices, and I think we should move forward with the idea. Any other comments before I?
Totally agree.
Councilmember Noble.
Just to say that this becomes you're overburdening part of the city. I think we're doing much of what you suggested, or we have staff that covers that area that you're referring to. I don't know that we need to get involved in another level of responsibilities that I'm not sure are going to be completed.
So noted. All right, seeing no other comments, moving on for comments from the public on non-agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak on non-agenda items, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing none, moving on to our city manager's report. City Manager McHugh.
I have no report this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
What? I know.
Our city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, I know it came up at the last meeting, the Senate Bill 2A, the bill analysis from that bill that was passed in December in the special session on property insurance. The bill analysis is quite long, so there's some other materials that are out there on the state of Florida, their insurance page, that what I'd like to do is send perhaps an email to the council and the mayor to provide access to maybe those summaries, to look at those yourself, because this is quite lengthy and gets into a lot of detail. But I think the summaries that are out there are helpful to understand what the legislature did and really didn't do, and take a look at it. And from that, maybe we can discuss one-on-one some thoughts about, things that the city may be able to do within its control, which right now appears to be somewhat limited, but certainly education on what the legislature has done and maybe is looking at in the future would be helpful to understand this process.
I think that's in reference to what our Deputy Mayor Tharp had requested. Am I correct about that?
Yes, sir.
So I'll defer to Deputy Mayor Tharp on how.
No, I
he
mean,
would like
I think, education is key. I mean, we need to know what we can and can't do and what's been proposed or what's not been proposed to establish what we might be able to do going forward. I think it's, let's start there and look forward to the conversations.
Okay, will do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anything else?
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the mayor's and city council report. I'm going to start to my left, Councilmember Diaz.
I'm going to defer to you to speak on Tallahassee Day, but I just wanted to take a minute I want to thank my council members. I want to thank city staff, our fire, our police. Today is the 1-year anniversary of my swearing in, and it has been a very full year, and it's been a wonderful year. I really want to thank our residents and our business owners who have called on me and allowed me to be of service, so thank you.
Excellent. Happy anniversary, Councilmember Diaz. Councilmember Dugo.
I have no report. I do have a question. Was there any consideration regarding these acrylic dividers for high-tech word?
I think that, there was some discussion. I know that there are some that would rather keep them up. There are some that would rather take them down. But I think based on the discussions that we had, that, depending on if there is someone next to you that would like to keep them up, then we would recommend keeping them up. But if you and your neighbor are okay with them being down, then, they could come down.
Well, neighbor, I'm leaving it up to you.
Don't care.
I don't. Here you go, let's go. No, I always
All right,
want to It's
Councilmember Noble.
I just want to bring up Aldi's and that intersection, and again, remind whatever we have to do to get a traffic light on that corner. It's excessive traffic. The residents from Woodlake can't get out. You cannot cross that street, so I would like to continue to pursue to get a traffic light on that corner.
I think that's the first time we bring that. Am I correct about that? Is that the first time we hear about this?
It has been brought up previously. There have been requests. A lot of the requests have come from the residents. We did reach out to the county. The county said that it wasn't warranted. We've gone back to the county several times since the Aldi's was there. Actually, when Aldi's was building the store, they had set aside the funds to put the light in, but the county said that it wasn't warranted. But we've been back to the county twice, and that's been their response. But we can follow back up again.
Excellent.
Can I make a comment, further comment?
Councilmember Noble.
That's typical of the county until there's an accident or a death. And I don't think we want to wait for 2 or 3 people get killed before they put a light there. So I would like to keep pursuing it because it is a very dangerous intersection.
Deputy Mayor Tharp.
No report this evening.
You sure? Pushback ceremony?
I wasn't there.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll do it. All right, for the mayor's report. So we had I just mentioned that we had a great pushback ceremony, which means that we push a fire truck or an engine basically into service here at the city, and I believe it went into service Thursday? It hasn't gone into service yet? Okay. But we have some council members present last week, and we have a new engine that's going online here briefly. We're extremely excited about that. And I think the council and the administration here at the city, led by Chief Fuller and his staff, christened the new engine, and we look forward to continuing to service our community with that new engine. So we're extremely excited about that. 2 weeks ago, myself and Councilmember, actually not just Councilmember Diaz, but City Manager McHugh and Austin, our PIO, we ended up going up to Tallahassee. We basically have 2 bills that we're requesting funding for, and I thought that was very successful. Our lobbyists up in Tallahassee, the firm Gray Robinson, did a great job of securing some key meetings with a lot of decision makers. I thought that was I thought it was great. I thought we were heard. I thought that we sort of informed some individuals that perhaps didn't know who Green Acres is and the people that we represent are. And hopefully when it comes to the end of sessions, we have funding to get some of these projects across the finish line. So very exciting. I thought it was worthwhile. I look forward to hopefully being able to announce here in the near future that we have gotten funding for those projects that we are looking to get across the finish line. That pretty much concludes my report. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, meeting's adjourned. That was a good one.